everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of the Village Board to order tonight on Monday, June 3rd. I'd like to ask everyone for a moment of silence, if you would join me in remembrance of the 12 victims of the recent tragedy in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Thank you. I'd like to ask everyone to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the clerk call the roll call, please?
Trustee Padovani.
Here.
Trustee Baldino.
Here.
Trustee Canty.
Here.
Trustee Scaletta.
Here.
Trustee Schwingbeck.
Here.
Trustee Tinaglia.
Here.
Trustee LaBedz.
Here.
President Pro Tem Rosenberg.
Here. Thank you. The next item is the approval of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole of May 6, 2019. Do I have a motion for approval?
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next set of minutes is the Village Board of May 13th, 2019.
I think we're doing the May 20th Committee of the Whole.
May 20th, that's correct.
Committee of the Whole, May 20th.
Okay, apologize. Next approval of minutes is for the Committee of the Whole of May 20th, 2019. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is the approval of the accounts payable. First accounts payable is for the warrant register of May 15, 2019. I call on Trustee Scaletta.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I would move now to approve the warrant register dated May 15th, 2019, in the amount of $3,048,250.19.
Second.
Anybody from the audience have any objection to the warrant register for May 15th? All those in favor?
Aye.
President,
Aye.
this would be a roll call
Roll
vote.
call, I'm sorry.
Trustee Scaletta.
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia.
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz.
Yes.
Trustee Canty.
Yes.
Trustee Baldino.
Yes.
Trustee Padovani.
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Rosenberg.
Yes. Next, I'd like to call on Trustee Scaletta again for the warrant register of May 30th, 2019.
Thank you. I'd like to move approval of the warrant register dated May 30th, 2019, in the amount of $1,841,834.81.
Second.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Scaletta.
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia.
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz.
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck.
Yes.
Trustee Baldino.
Yes.
Trustee Canty.
Yes.
Trustee Padovani.
Yes.
President Pro Tem Rosenberg.
Yes. Thank you. So the next item on the agenda under recognitions and presentations, we have a presentation of mementos to the Village of Arlington Heights from the former police chief, Carl Skog, and his family. His family is here to present to the police department his memorabilia as being the first police chief in Arlington Heights.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Rosenberg and members of the board. If I may, a few brief introductory comments that will lead to our presenter for this item on the agenda. In 1895, the village formed its police department. Coincidentally, next year is our 125th year anniversary. In the roughly 124 years of the police department's existence, there have been 5 full-time tenured police chiefs. In 1925, the village hired Carl Herbert Skoog as its police officer and later promoted him to police chief in 1928. Chief Skoog served this community with distinction for 32 years until his retirement in 1957. Several months ago, Chief Skoog's son called the Arlington Heights Police Department to inquire if the village would accept a donation of police memorabilia that belonged to his father. I graciously accepted his offer. Mr. Skoog and his family have flown here this morning from the San Antonio area of Texas to present these keepsakes to the village of Arlington Heights. This collection of police identification and gear was framed by Mr. Matt Grana of Grand Frame for this presentation. It's my pleasure to introduce to the board Mr. Herb Skoog and his family.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate the opportunity to say a few words. It's been a long time since I've been back here in Arlington Heights, but I will tell you that I have many, many happy years and memories of growing up and being a part of this community and having the opportunity to have a caring community that really took care of us as youngsters and as we have grown up. I have many happy memories. My father was one of those folks that was concerned when people were idle, and so he made sure that there were. As the oldest son, I had a brother and two sisters. As the oldest son, I got the job of mainly shoveling the snow off the driveway, and it wasn't just good enough to have 2 lanes for the tires. It had to be completely done. And then later I worked at what was then, when I was in high school, at Arlington Heights High, which is no longer. I had the pleasure of working at what was called the Big Freeze. I don't know if any of you remember that. Probably not many of you do, but it was a burger joint that was practically across from high school. But there were so many. I worked at the Arlington Theater. I had summer jobs at the racetrack. I mean, there were no idle hours in our home. Things needed to be done. They needed to be done shipshape. He served in the Navy in World War I, so we all had standards that we had to live up to. And I can tell you that sometimes it was hard being the son of the chief of police with some of my good buddies. But we outgrew those things, and we just have many happy memories. And my son-in-law came, and I and the rest of the family were talking about these memorabilia items that we had from my father. And I've come to that point in life where it's time to think about passing those on. And I talked to I have 2 daughters, and I have 3 granddaughters and a great-grandson and a great-granddaughter. So they were all fascinated by these items, and we were concerned about what would happen to them down through the years. Particularly the gold star that has the engraving on the back given by the citizens of New Braunfels, and the other items that were his memorabilia. And we had Steve Miranda, who is one of my son-in-laws, and my daughter Carol. Steve came up with the idea. He said, you ought to really think, instead of breaking up that collection, we ought to think about maybe giving those to the Arlington Heights Police Department. They might like to have those as memorabilia. And so I called Chief Pecora, and the next is history. We were happy today to present this collection and hope that it will be a good part of the heritage of Arlington Heights. And thank you so much for letting me come and my family come today. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Herb, thank you very much. It's a great honor to accept those on behalf of the village, so thank you.
We'll show them. I will say this, that Chief Pecora took very good care of getting them in a position where they can be seen and appreciated by visitors and friends. Oh, sure. Yeah, you bet.
Yes. Thank you very much. It came out really beautiful, the framing of this and all the memorabilia. Maybe you want to describe it for everyone, what's inside?
Well, yes, I'd be happy to. First in the center is a picture, and this is from the police department book. I believe it was published in '85, and it has his picture and a little story about him. Up in this corner is his star, which actually was presented to him in 1927, and it says so on the back of the star. Then some of the insignia of a chief is 3 stars, some of his buttons that went on their shirts, and then he was also a constable, and this is from his cap, and then of course he had weapons that he carried, a .38 police special, and he had a 32. 380, yeah, which is used when he was in plain clothes. And I must say, he had a good friend who was in the plating business in Chicago, and he plated that gun gold. But anyway, we're happy they're going to be in a safe place where everybody and anybody who is interested can come and see them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Herb. Steve? Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Carol, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Oh, boy.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
Where
you so
will
much.
that be hung? Wonderful.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
Thank you. Awesome. Thanks very much.
Next item on the agenda is citizens to be heard, and we have one citizen tonight, Robert Schmidt. If you would come forward. And do your presentation, please, to 3 minutes.
Yes, my name is Robert Schmidt, and I'd like to start off by apologizing to Mary Beth for my long-winded message I left on her phone a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you got that message, but it's sort of the same thing that I'm addressing tonight, which is gliosulfate, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, which is in Roundup. I was very excited to be a part of a group called the Arlington Heights Enviro Group a couple of weeks ago, and they were planting a butterfly garden on Lake Arlington. But what really bothered me was that I noticed a large area of grass that was brown, and I asked one of the guys there, I said, "Why is the grass brown?" And he says, "We used Roundup." And I told him, do you know that there's lawsuits right now regarding cancer, where Monsanto is getting sued left and right, and they just keep losing all these lawsuits? And he's like, "Well, that's just California." And I'm like, I don't care if it's California or 50 states. One state is enough for me to say no. That's one of my concerns. The other point that I wanted to make about it, which is also what I left in the voicemail to Mary Beth, the thing that they're trying to attract, they're also killing at the same time. They have good intentions, but there's this thing called CCD, colony collapse disorder. If they spray the chemical, the bees get infected, and they bring the chemical back with them to the hive, and the hive collapses. I mean, there's a number of ways that they could have done this without spraying this chemical, glyphosate, which is in Roundup. They could have rototilled. They could have gotten their hands and knees to do it. They could have used a torch to do it. They could have used this black paper that you put down in flower beds that prevents weeds from growing up to block the sunlight and kill the grass that way.
Mr. Schmidt, if I can ask you to wrap it up.
Okay. You know, it's just they're going to kill the very thing that they're trying to attract. And the other thing that I'm really worried about is if they do enough of those projects on the lake, we could eventually have an algae bloom as well. So you can't call yourself the Enviro Group if you're using chemicals like that. I'm sorry, you can't be called that. But anyway, that's what I wanted to address tonight. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I just
Trustee Scaletta?
say, maybe you could provide Mr. Schmidt with contact numbers for people at the Park District who control the application of weed killer there?
Yes. So the Lake Arlington is maintained by the Arlington Heights Park District, and we can certainly give them your contact information and have them give you a call if you'd like.
Thank you, Diana. Next order of business is old business. Report out from the Committee of the Whole meeting from tonight, June 3rd. I would call on Trustee Scaletta.
Thank you. I would move now, as I did earlier this evening, that the Board of Trustees recommend to the Liquor Commissioner the issuance of a Class O liquor license to Fabrici Salon and Spa Ltd., doing business as Fabrici Salon and Spa, located at 7 South Highland Avenue.
Trustee Canty.
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion,
Do you
please.
wanna-
Trustee Tinaglia.
Excuse me, Trustee Tinaglia.
As I did earlier this evening, I'm going to pass on the vote for this item due to the fact that the petitioner is my sister.
Thank you. So I would call on the board for a voice vote on the approval of the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Pass. Okay. Motion passes. Next item is the consent agenda. Is there any trustee who would vote no or pass on an item on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Trustee Tenai.
I would like to pass on item consent legal, item C.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Is there anyone in the audience who would like an item removed from the agenda? Yes. You want to come forward, please?
Consent petitions and communications, A, B, and C.
Okay. A, B, and C. Okay.
The raffle waivers.
Okay. Thank you.
And they'll just
Toward-
they'll all be moved off the consent agenda to the petitions and communications section at the end of the agenda.
Okay.
So you just
Thank
need a
very much.
motion to move those three off.
So moved.
Trustee Scaletta.
No, I would move that we move consent petitions and communications A, B, and C off the consent agenda.
To the petitions and communications.
Yes.
Just off the consent agenda is fine. Yeah, they just
Is
moved to
there-
the regular agenda in the same spot.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Okay. Now I'd ask for a motion to approve the remaining items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And this is a roll call.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Padovani,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Rosenberg.
Yes. So I believe we need another motion to,
No? Well, now you're going to
Well, trust-
discuss new business, and then the legal, and then the petitions and communications items.
okay, so trustee Tenaya passed, and yet he approved the motion.
The vote will show that he passed on that one legal item. You can still vote on them all at once. He just shows as a pass on that one legal item.
Okay.
So it's
Just wanted
fine.
to clarify that. Thank you. All right, so we would now move to new business.
Correct.
And we have a petition or a motion, an item on the agenda for the Hickory Kensington 4 North Hickory. Charles, any comments?
This is a final platted subdivision for the 4 North Hickory development that was approved in August last year with a preliminary plan unit development. They submitted their plats with all the required signatures and everything that's required of the village per our code, and they have received a unanimous recommendation from Plan Commission for approval of the final plat.
Thank you, Charles. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak on this issue? Okay, thank you. I'd like a motion for approval.
So moved. Second.
Approval by trustee Padovani, second by trustee Scaletta. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion passes. Final item on the new business, or legal A, I'm sorry, is ordinance approving, wait, there's something missing here. Amending Chapter 13 of the Arlington Heights Municipal Code. Village Manager Diana?
Sure. So the board has before you is an ordinance amending Chapter 13. This is the liquor code. So we have the surrender of a Class AA, a B, an E, and a T liquor licenses, and we're making available a Class A and O. So what has occurred with this ordinance is Forbici is going to be receiving the Class O liquor license, and the rest of the license classifications that are in this ordinance are cleanup from when the liquor license renewal period ended at the end of April.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for approval? Trustee Scaletta?
I would move approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 13 of the Arlington Heights Municipal Code, a surrender of Class AA, B, E, T liquor licenses, and making available a Class A and O liquor licenses.
Second.
Motion by trustee Scaletta, second by trustee Baldino. Roll call.
Trustee Scaletta,
I'm sorry.
Yes.
1 second. Anybody in the audience on this? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Pass.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Padovani,
Yes.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
President Pro Tem Rosenberg.
Yes. Thank you. So now we would take up the items that were removed from the consent agenda, A, B, and C.
Correct. Correct. Under petitions and communications.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Report from the village manager before we do that?
Nothing this evening.
Okay, thank you. Appointments, no appointments, petitions and communications, so now we take up those 3 items.
I don't
You can
think-
state your name for the record, please.
Melissa Kerr, Arlington Heights. I don't think the government should be encouraging alcohol beverage drinking by waiving fees for a special event liquor license. And what is the bond waivers for the other 2 items?
Bond waivers, per the code, if you're having a raffle, there's a requirement for a bond. And so frequently, particularly when 501c3 organizations, not-for-profit organizations, conduct raffles, they ask the village board to waive the bond requirement.
Meaning it's like an insurance payment?
That's
for
what the
anything
bond is.
That could go
Yeah.
wrong? Okay.
Any other questions?
Got it.
Can I
You'll-
just follow up on one thing?
Yes, trustee Scaletta.
Thank you. So I can appreciate Ms. Kerr's concern about waiving a fee for a special event liquor license. However, the village provides funding to the Arlington Heights Historical Society, and that is where this event takes place, and the proceeds from the event ultimately benefit the residents of the village of Arlington Heights. So I think it's a good thing that we're waiving the fee, because at the end of the day, it's going to benefit all of us by increased revenue taken in at the event on the Arlington Heights historical property. And I would be willing to move approval on all three.
Trustee I'm sorry, Trustee Scaletta, you're going to have to do them one at a time.
One at a time,
There are three
right.
individual items, and there'll be roll call votes for each of them.
Sure. I would move to request a bond, or to approve a bond waiver for the Arlington Heights Park District Foundation, or Park Foundation?
Second. Okay.
Motion by trustee Scaletta, second by trustee LaBedz. Roll
Roll
call.
call on this.
Trustee Scaletta?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee Padovani?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Rosenberg.
Yes. Motion for the next item, trustee Scaletta.
I would move to waive the fee for a special event liquor license for the Arlington Heights Park District.
Second.
Motion by trustee Scaletta, second by trustee Padovani. Roll call.
Trustee Scaletta?
Yes.
Trustee Padovani?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Rosenberg.
Yes. And trustee Scaletta, you want to finish it off?
I would. I would move to waive the bond for the Arlington Heights Firefighters Association raffle.
Second.
Motion by trustee Scaletta, second by trustee Baldino. Roll call, please.
Trustee Scaletta?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Padovani?
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Rosenberg.
Yes. So also under petitions and communications, I'd like to remind everybody in the village of our Promenade of Art this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, June 8th and 9th, running from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the downtown area. I encourage you to attend. Any other petitions or communications anyone has? Comments, questions? Okay, motion for adjournment.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Okay, who's the motion?
Padovani.
Trustee Padovani and second by trustee LaBedz. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you for joining us this evening.